Welcome to PD on the Go, the podcast that delivers bite-sized learning on communication, collaboration, and facilitation for busy teacher leaders. Tune in while you're in the car, on your lunch break, or making copies, and get ready to level up your leadership skills. My name is Hallie Case, and I'm with the Office of Professional Learning in Fairfax County Public Schools, and I'm joined today by two of my teammates.
I'm Mary Beth Anderson.
And I'm Sarah Phillips.
All right, so for our episode today, we're tackling the topic of overcoming agenda fatigue. So often what can happen and what we hear more from team leaders in that teacher leadership role is that they start to think about their weekly team agenda and it feels burdensome because what are we doing this week? So either the page is blank and we're not sure how to fill it, or sometimes there's so many things we could tackle, how do we know? And that can cause some fatigue. So we're going to try to offer some ideas to solve that challenge for people today. So first, Sarah, tell us a little bit more about that agenda fatigue.
Mm-hmm. I think often teams and team leads, like you said, are staring at that blank page and wondering what to do at the end of each week or maybe at the end of each meeting and are just stuck. And it feels like a load, a burden is the perfect word you used. And so because we're living week to week to week, it gets exhausting.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, like being the one who's always trying to make the decision about what goes on that blank piece of paper.
Yeah, and we've all been there when we hear the team lead say, "What are we going to do next week? Oh my God, our CLT's tomorrow. Who has something to talk about?" Which also, I feel like devalues the purpose of the CLT a little bit because it feels like we have to do something, so we have to put something on there, and maybe not always thinking about the purpose of that, but then how do we think through what the work of the CLT is to help us to come up with what we're going to talk about too?
Yeah, it's not just putting something down for the sake of it to fill the space. It's what's going to be meaningful and help the team feel like they're using their time wisely. And we've talked a lot about the team leader, but they really don't need to be the only person owning what goes on the agenda.
Yeah. And I think if teams can start to long-term plan, then they're able to do this, get rid of that decision fatigue a little bit. So if teams do start to long-term plan, how can that help the team's progress and the team leads kind of move away from that decision fatigue?
Yeah, I mean, we've talked a lot about different leadership styles, and some people are big picture already and kind of plan with that big picture in mind. And for people who aren't, sometimes that can be supportive for them. So having some sort of plan that's a little bit more plug and go so that you can picture the entire course of a unit or the entire course of a semester can give you that big picture planning, but it can also help with distributive leadership where it's not Mary Beth is the team leader and every week she's the person doing it. Maybe Sarah takes a turn and I take a turn because we've already done that big picture mapping.
Yeah. That's exactly the word that came to mind, a map, right? So it gives you a direction. Things feel a little more predictable when you plan out big picture as a team. And so it takes some of that cognitive load off of one piece of the CLT, and instead we can focus on the work. What are we talking about? The students versus a structure or what we might talk about next week.
Yeah. So we have a tool for this. This is sort of why we're tackling this challenge because it can be challenging. And so the way that we're trying to support schools in overcoming this challenge, reduce the mental fatigue that some teacher leaders may feel, is through what we call our sample plans, our year-long sample plans. So Mary Beth, tell us a little bit about this tool.
Yeah, so our yearly sample plans came out of the need because everybody only has 1 hour a week to come together. And so we have to prioritize, which leads to this. You had talked a little bit about this in the beginning of there's so much to do and I don't know what to choose to put on our agenda. Yeah. And so that's sort of where this came from. But our yearly sample plans, we have things both that are designed for elementary school and for secondary, so middle and high. And the ones for elementary, we have different It goes week by week, and it shows what you could accomplish when you're thinking about planning before a unit, during a unit, and then after a unit, and it takes it right from our protocol library. So week 1, it might be saying unit 1 preparation, and it has a few choices of protocols you could use, and we highlight one that we think would be specifically good for planning for the next unit.
Like a high leverage protocol.
Exactly. And then the next week, we now are going to be planning our common assessment or whatever it might be, or checking in on the instruction that we're doing. And so it just has a week by week so that teams can see that big picture planning. For elementary, we have it if you're just alternating language arts and math, or if you want to tackle language arts and math in the same CLT, or maybe you're going to throw an MTSS in there and you're going to mix it up. So we have lots of options for teams to choose from. And then for secondary school, which is a little bit different, your team could come together for one subject area. So it shows how the progression would work through that one subject area versus like a world language team that may come together and they all teach Spanish, but I teach Spanish 1, Sarah teaches Spanish 2, and you teach Spanish 3.
Yeah.
So how can we come together as a collaborative learning team and focus on student goals? So it shows those two options for teams to choose from based on what works best for them. And it's meant to be a guide. So teams can change it up and kind of veer from there, but at least it gives them a sample to go from to kind of kick off their work.
So if I'm a teacher leader at a school and I'm thinking about the start of the school year, what are we going to do this first week back or these first couple weeks back? Maybe I pick one of the yearly sample plans, make a copy of it, and do some collaboration with my teammates around like what's the cadence or flow that makes sense for our team so that we have that big picture planning done. And then the way that it could work for my team is that someone else could pick up from the week. Like we even have them labeled already updated for the next school year of like what week is it in September, the week of September 9th, whatever it is, right? So then someone else could look at it and say, oh, I'm just going to plug this protocol into our agenda because it match. I already know we're starting a new unit. I'm going to use this protocol. We have all the supplies we need for it, and it takes away some of the fatigue of the planning, and we can distribute the load a little bit more.
Well, and because it's a one-stop shop, you have some options already built in. It definitely relieves the load on the decision-making piece.
Right. So we have 7 of these yearly sample plans, which we are going to share with you through our Instagram account at FCPS_PD. And you can also find them by searching PD on the Go on Atlas. Thanks so much for tuning in, and we hope you join us next time for some more PD on the Go.